So I got two more questions before we basically done with our review. Do you think Todo has a domain expansion?
That is crazy.
Just to think about.
That is, dude, I
Yeah,
don't know. The first thing that comes to mind for me for what it could be is similarly to Trafalgar Law from One Piece's room,
yeah, on a bigger
where
scale.
when he expands it, right, he can just swap anything on a dime, like he doesn't have to worry about it. I would assume, I guess, that Todo has kind of something similar. That's the only thing that I
Instead of
can maybe think
himself,
of.
it's like
Maybe the only other
objects.
thing is,
Yeah.
sorry.
Instead of himself, is more like objects, or maybe like like it's just bigger. Because he can only move people, and like and I think only
And
two at a,
small things,
and
yeah.
only like what, two at a time, essentially, like just two things.
Yeah, I think. Oh, so maybe that's it. Maybe he can. Yeah, maybe that's actually the domain expansion where it's an exchange of multiple things. So it does. Yeah, because as far as we've seen, it's always been on like a one by one basis. So
Yeah,
yeah, maybe that opens up to
I'm
it,
I'm
the
I'm
ability to do more.
I'm calling it right now. I think Toto, one of his hands is gonna get cut off,
Could you imagine? I
and
hope not.
and then you know
Oh,
what,
you
and then
think
the
by Mahito in order to like make the fight like crazy? That's
yeah,
possible for
I
sure.
think his hand, one of his hands is gonna cut off, but he can still use his powers because he's gonna like slap. He's gonna make a slap like against his knee. You know what I mean? Like when you're like,
Mm,
yeah. So his powers could still work, but yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting because yeah, and also how many when is the Shibuya incident gonna be over? Because we're up to part 44.
yeah, which is crazy if you actually think about it.
I
That there's
think
been
I
this
think
much
it'll
going
end
on.
like it'll end around part maybe 66,
You know what's
70.
funny? I was gonna say 60. I was thinking something in that range
Yeah.
because I feel like this fight alone will have to be like another 3 chapters ish. But then we're still working on things like the identity of that weird cursed object that's taken over Gojo's best friend,
Yeah.
right? The guy living in that weird thing that's like living in his brain. We've got to resolve like Gojo getting out of the prison. Um, there was also the matter of didn't that crazy person survive? Remember the really nutty person who had the sword and she ended up almost getting obliterated by Sukuna when he had come out of Itadori? Um, didn't that person end up like randomly stabbing one of the execs that were keeping up
Well, no,
the domain?
he did die. I know what you're talking about. He looks like he has long hair covering one eye.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
no, he died. Remember, because remember he never knew his power until it was luck until he got killed because his luck ran out.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That did get cleared up. My bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
because we were like, what is this guy? He just has like a sword and like, and then we don't like he doesn't like the narrator, saying like, oh, his power is this, but he doesn't know it, and like that's why he always got out of every situation. But eventually, your luck does run out.
Run out. Yeah. No, that's a good point. No, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. So I think that's pretty much everything I
yeah.
wanted to cover. I'm just doing a quick scroll back through the pages to kind of
I think it's a great
see if
chapter. I
there's
mean,
anything I missed.
chapter 127. I think it was great. I'm excited for Shibuya part 45. But yeah, I'm excited for the next one. Let's see what's to come. I think it'll probably end like around 60. And is this the last arc? I don't know. It's a heavy war arc essentially, if you want to call it that. A very like heavy battle, like yeah, it's a battle arc. You got basic part 44. That's basically four. That's 4 volumes. So
Yeah, well, I was gonna because we've been honestly, it's been almost I guess a full year that we've been dealing with just the Shibuya incident.
yeah,
So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how longer this is gonna go. I don't think it'll be the last arc. I think there's still a few too many unanswered questions,
yeah.
especially with in this arc only it having been revealed that there's like a cursed object in that one guy. So yeah, I agree though. Great chapter. Really looking forward to this week because the Todo and Itadori fights so far have all been fantastic. So
Nice.
yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, man.
Awesome, man. Cool.